Hi. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get you into place, and I guess my phone, I must have pushed the on-off button, and I turned you off. So, sorry. There we go. Let me get you in the right direction. Voila. Hi. Welcome. It's time for today's town hall. I believe it's 3:30, and it's time to talk. So let me fix my hair a little so I look a little bit more like me, and then we can get started. Okay, so craziness is going on. That's what's going on. I have some gel I need to put in my hair. It's just, I'm going to tuck that back in here. It's just super staticky. Sorry about that, folks. All right, welcome. Hi. It's town hall time. Yes, and campaign update and everything. I am Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki, or Susan Buchser for short. I am a presidential candidate from the 24 presidential election, and the Electoral College will be meeting. I'm wrong. The Electoral College met in December on the 17th, and they placed their votes for who they wanted to be president and vice president of the United States. Tomorrow, at the Capitol building, Congress will be convening, and the President of the Senate, the Vice President of the United States, will then read off who each state cast their Electoral College votes for in the presidential and vice presidential campaign. So this is where we are, folks. Tomorrow we'll finally know who supposedly got the votes for president and vice president. What I can say is this past year, and I mean, I discovered a lot of fraud, since 2020 actually, and then each year it's just been more and more. But even more lately, I will be talking about two incidences that happened to me, and then something that I know happened to somebody else that I know. I'm going to talk about those tomorrow at my... So I'm also an artist, and my artist name is Maude Art, and I'm going to be having something called a summoning piece. It's the first one in the USA, and there I'll be talking as a presidential candidate and as Citizen Susan and as artist Maude Art about various aspects of criminality in our government. Not so much in the government itself, but the people running the government in the states and in the federal government. And so... and I've already talked to you about it, so you know that I have a lawsuit pending, first off, about registering to vote and how it's illegal to force people to register to vote to have our votes counted. That's unconstitutional. The 14th Amendment clearly states no state has the right to do anything like that. They cannot force citizens to do things that restrict our liberties. And our liberty is to vote and have it counted, not just to vote, and it's also not a liberty to send people away from voting, which is all the things that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow at the event. If you can't make it at 1 in Washington, D.C., you can watch it on my Maude Art Facebook page, which I'll tomorrow put a link so that you can click on it and go watch live if you want, or if you can't make it at 1 o'clock at all, D.C. time, then you can watch in the reruns later. I'll post it, and then you can watch from there. if you have any particular questions or advice or topics or anything, put it here in the comments so that I can get to it maybe and talk about it at the event, or if not at the event, later, or maybe I'll have like a answering session after or something like that. But I'll be talking there as candidate Susan, and then I'll be talking there also as citizen Susan, and I'll be talking on the behalf of somebody else. And, I just have a whole bunch of lawsuits that I'm going to have to do because it's the only way to get things accomplished. But, I'm not really good at lawsuits, so I'm sort of a beginner. And I'm still hoping that the Supreme Court will make a ruling on my lawsuit. I don't know. I don't know how it works, but anyway, tomorrow is another day, and it's a Monday, and it's a first full week of business of the new year, so it's an exciting day, and I'm looking forward. Anyway, so since I mentioned it, I will be in Washington, D.C., at the National Mall, somewhere near the Congressional Building on Congressional Hill, or whatever it's called. So the Capitol Building, Capitol Hill, I'll be there as near as I can, but on the mall area. And I'll be having this art event there. And if you have something you want your government to know about, come and be a part. Or if you can't, you can also be a part online because it'll be live. You can join my live feed of Facebook. I hope I have it set up properly to actually get people to converse on my art page, but I guess we'll find out tomorrow. It's my first one, so there will be others. Anyway, so if you want to join, it's going to be wintry weather apparently, so dress for the weather also. Wear a big sweater and a hat and certainly gloves and something like that. So that is going on tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or I like to say Washington, D.C. time. So that's what is going on with me as far as art and as far as bringing about justice, bringing about fairness and consistency and accountability and responsibility, all of these things. So, yeah. Do I have a sign here to show you? No, I don't. I don't know where they are. Okay, anyway. So, Town Hall. Let's get talking about the news. So, the news is that we have another sad story of an extremist, religious extremist, going about doing something, trying to bring their ideas to the world, or I don't know what. But anyway, you do not have a right to take the life of other people, period. And, just because people think differently or believe something different than you doesn't give you the right to attack them. We all have a right to our own beliefs and our own religion, especially in the United States. It's in our culture, it's in our documents, it's in our Constitution that we have a right to be ourselves. And, if the states can't do anything, and if the government can't do anything to block you from your rights, then that means that your next door neighbor also doesn't have the right to do that. So I'm very sorry. My heart goes out to everyone who knows somebody who was injured or killed in this recent attack. I'm always shocked. And my heart goes out to the people who lost their lives. I'm very sorry. And then it's very strange with this bombing of a Tesla. So with fireworks and stuff inside, I don't know what's going on there. But it's been a very volatile election year. And, there's more than 2 people running. It's more than us against them. But for some reason, people only follow the news and they don't think for themselves. And this is part of our problem, is that people depend on the news still to give all their information. But the real problem is that our country has been turned into a workers' force. And everybody's working, and they're working long hours just to make enough money to live, to get by. And so they don't really have a lot of free time to do research. And so this is also part of the problem. Because we all also deserve to have some downtime, too, to de-stress. And some people are doing that and some people aren't. But if you've got a busy life, de-stressing is important. And then spending time researching presidential candidates, I'm sure, is not really something you're up for. So, I understand completely that everybody thinks it's us against them. And then that creates a lot of hostility. But there's a lot of presidential candidates. I'm not the only one. And Trump and Biden and Harris are also not the only ones. And so, it's been a chaotic year for sure. So we need to do something about our election process. And as you know, I have a lawsuit pending with the Supreme Court still. I hope they're going to act on it very soon, especially before the inauguration would be good. I'm sure they have their reasons for why they're taking so long, but let's see what happens. We need a new election process. We need informed voters, and we need to make sure that every vote counts. And that's what happened to me. I went in to vote. I was unregistered. West Virginia let me vote. They did let me vote. Provisional ballot. And then that goes to some private election group that then decides if they're going to count my vote or not. Now, I'm a U.S. citizen. My father is a veteran, and he fought in Vietnam. He's buried at Arlington. And they're not counting my vote? West Virginia? I have huge problems with this. Just enormous. I mean, the way it's done, too, it's clear. You looked at what I voted, and you decided you were not going to count my vote. This is obscene. It's not acceptable. It's corruption, and you are criminals, traitors. Sorry. So, that is more or less what I will be also saying tomorrow. But yeah, so I have my lawsuit pending. You can find out about it at my website, susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, usa.com. Luckily nobody was hurt in that car explosion. I don't recall hearing that anybody got hurt. The one thing that is sort of in the background that maybe you didn't hear, and this is really important. So, Donald Trump was sentenced in May for 34 felonies. He's guilty. He is guilty of 34 counts of hush money payments to keep whatever secrets quiet. And he's found guilty. So it's not like it's still in question. He's guilty. And he then was able to hush his hush money sentencing from July to September to October to November. And then in November, they decided it's indefinite when it'll happen, which means if nobody's watching, it could disappear. So I keep mentioning it. And I heard in my news feed on YouTube somewhere, I think it was YouTube, that he will be sentenced now January 10th. So let's find out what's going on. The other thing that came out about his lawsuits was that it was free publicity. So, I mean, isn't it a coincidence that all these lawsuits were coming up this year during the election? I mean, every day he was in the news. Every day they were talking about him. And it was free publicity. And the fact that they kept postponing the sentencing gave him more advertising. So, you know, I mean, I know he's got money, and I know he's got friends that have money, and they certainly paid the court well to do whatever they did. And, you know, this is just outrageous. It's outrageous. But for me, I don't want a guilty man having his finger on a nuclear bomb. A guilty man of so many felonies does not deserve to sit in the Oval Office. I mean, we had him there once. He doesn't deserve to go back. I don't know what his plan is, but he seems to be leading us to the altar and then walking away. I don't know. So I'm a little concerned. I really hope the sentencing actually happens, and I hope that it's a proper sentencing. You know, I mean, that's the other thing. They might sentence him to like 1 day, which I don't know if that's acceptable. I don't know if that's even possible. So sentencing needs to happen, and he needs to fulfill his sentencing before he takes office. So, you know, I don't know. I just, if this is our court system, and they're doing this, this is manipulation. This is also treasonous. It's not acceptable. Yeah. So, supposedly, January 10th he'll be sentenced, and supposedly they do know that it was being done so that he could get free publicity. And this is just horrible. We are being used by Donald Trump and the Republican Party. So, I mean, both parties are guilty. Both are doing criminal activity. And it's just unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's not necessary. So, yeah. So, that's what we have with the news this week. You know, they keep talking sometimes about UFOs, and they keep talking, I don't know. But, yeah. It's a strange news time. For me, the beginning of the year is thinking about the new year and what can I do this year to be more productive or to be helpful. And one thing I want to read to you is one of the affirmations that I have in my from my Unitarian Universalist book. We have a book in the Unitarian Universalist church or community. It's called Singing the Living Tradition. I got involved with them via actually a friend of mine here in the U.S. took me to her congregation in North Carolina. And then I got involved with the one in Basel, Switzerland. And then now I'm really part of the Unitarian Universalists of Europe, which I like their program. I feel really comfortable with them, and it's a very diverse community, so I really like that. And we all respect each other, and we all have our own views to share, and it's great. So anyways, from our book, we have songs, and then we have like affirmations and covenants and all sorts of feel-good messages in the back from all religions and even non-religious people. So, but this is one that touched my heart a lot, and it's from Edward Everett Hale. And one of my other favorite sayings is from Nathaniel Hale, I think, where I can't remember what it was. How does it go? I have but one life to give for my country. I think that's Nathaniel Hale, which I have always liked that. But then they're related, the Edward Everett Hale, and I used to know how, but at the moment I'm forgetting. But anyways, the affirmation that I like a lot, that really motivates me, it's called I Am Only One. And it goes like this: I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. So this is one of my favorite phrases right now, and it's a good one for January, to get you motivated for the year, to get you focused on what you want to achieve and where you want to go and who you can bring with you and how you can help your fellow people, your fellow creatures on the planet, and even the planet itself. So yeah, I'm only one. And, I was thinking maybe it's a good time, too, to talk about some of the people who have inspired me throughout the decades. And, when I was young, I was struggling because my father was an alcoholic, and I got out of the house and I went off to New York City to art school, which was quite a bit like therapy, too. So, I really got myself out of a bad situation and, was determined to not be an alcoholic and to not live in that manner. And so far, I've succeeded. But, I needed some help. And when I was growing up, I was raised in a very strict Catholic household with a lot of strange beliefs. And, I'm not Catholic anymore. I'm a Unitarian Universalist, if you have to classify me as something. But they are open to everyone. And currently, I'm an atheist. So I go there because what I realized is that I need community, a place to, have friends or make acquaintances and whatnot. And then it's nice to have a good thought once in a while, to walk away and feel, someone inspiring you on a regular basis. And so in the Unitarian Universalists, well, the one that I was in, we're lay led. So that means that anyone from the community can get up and say something and inspire each other. That's the best way to put it. So as I was growing up, I started to turn away from Christianity because of its issues and because of my issues. And it was the best thing I ever did. And at first, I thought I was an atheist, but then I somehow felt I needed a God. And it wasn't until I was about 26 that, after searching through different gods and studying different religions, I realized I didn't need a God. I just needed to feel better, stronger about myself, and then I would be fine. And that's actually been true. So, I started taking, I couldn't blame anybody like the devil. So I had to take personal responsibility for my own actions. And from there, it's just blossomed and to who I am today. But I will say that some of my early inspirations were Tony Robbins. And even before him was Louise Hay. I found or I got a Louise Hay book. I forget what they're called, but she has like one with some good feeling things and then some phrases you can tell yourself and you repeat them. And some of the phrases were connected with bodily issues, like if you were having stomach problems, or if you were having hearing problems, or an earache, or fever, or if you had diabetes, or if you had heart problems. And so you could go into what the problem was, and then you could read an affirmation to say about it. And you don't just read it once, but you read it many times, multiple times. And then for me, one of her favorite things to say in general was people to repeat that they are perfect, whole, and complete. And so this was definitely something I repeated to myself, that I was okay the way I was, and I felt really good to be me, just the way I was. And that worked. It was really, really helpful. So I really thank Louise Hay for that. And I've used her affirmations throughout my whole life. So, I still repeat them periodically, even today. Another thing that influenced me was one that I posted recently from it's about success and leaving the world a bit better. It's where I get my leave the world a bit better phrase that I use often. And that's by, I'm forgetting his name. So a poet from about 200, 300 years ago in the U.S. It'll come to me later. Anyway, I came across a book in my parents' library that had these like little affirmations or little poetry in them, and I really liked that one, and that really stuck with me. So I'll put it in the comments again. That's the best way to do it. Then another one from that time was, well, of course, Scarlett O'Hara and her story in Gone with the Wind, of how she kept going until she succeeded and beyond. And her phrase, tomorrow is another day. That was always one that stayed with me. And there was another one I wanted to say. I don't know, a lot of the music I listened to was also pretty positive and powerful and kept me moving forward. But I guess, yeah, Anthony Robbins with his um, your past does not equal the future. So no matter what mistakes you did in the past, you could change and go forward and do many things. And especially his eating guide of separating your starches and your proteins. That really helped to get into shape and to learn about eating, because I think a lot of us don't really know about eating and how to eat well. So there are just certain foods that really don't go well together, and they cause stomach aches and other things. So yeah, I really liked his chart that he had in his Unlimited Power book. That was really a book that kept me going, and he was always there on the late night TV. So Anthony Robbins, yeah, thank you for many years of influence. You're a great coach. Then, what else? I mean, I've had so many people influence me over the years. It's I don't know where to begin. But these were sort of the ones that got me in the beginning. There was also a woman who was working in the town, like a town counselor or something. Perhaps she was affiliated with the school. I don't know. I don't really know how I got to know her, but she also helped me. And what else? There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, so around 27, I really became a full atheist. I said, I don't need a God. 26, 27. And it's true, I didn't need a God, and I just started being my own person and being responsible for me. It's really hard being an atheist in a country where God is on everybody's lips, and you can hardly get through a conversation without somebody mentioning something about a God. So it was a real struggle. And then eventually I met a man who I liked very much. He was from Switzerland, and I went off to Switzerland, and they're not so obsessed with God the way people are in the U.S. And they're not so obsessed with God where it's my God against your God, and my God's better than you, and you have to come into my belief. And, so it's not so much there. There are a few people who are like that, who are constantly thinking about God, but most of them do not. And that was very refreshing. So now I'm back in the U.S., and I'm even more an atheist now than ever before. And now that I've been really studying hard the intricateness of Israel and how things have been and how we've been manipulated to where we are and who's doing the manipulation, I am even more an atheist than ever before. The Christian Zionists are absolutely insane. They're leading us into World War III because they want to bring Jesus back. And they think by having a world war, that will bring on the end of times and Jesus will come back. And this is just fanatical. It's not acceptable. And we are not a Christian nation. The United States is not a Christian nation. We have no business starting a war for Jesus. Now, prior to going to Switzerland, I'm going to say I didn't have the strength to say that. But after living away in a country that is not filled with people obsessed with God and Jesus. I can tell you, I can say that now. And, there are more of me today than there were 25 years ago. So that helps too. But yes, it's fine to have God, and it's fine to have Jesus, and it's fine to get your inspiration from wherever you want to get it from. But to force it down on an institutional level, down people's throats, who are not following your belief, that is unacceptable. It's not what our country was meant for. Our First Amendment is all about freedom of religion, freedom of speech. You, as a person, can have whatever freedom, whatever God, whatever Jesus, whatever you want to believe, that's fine. But when you start pushing your beliefs on others, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And to use your beliefs to hurt others is not acceptable. So, yeah, this is kind of where we are now with our country, is we've been brought to the brink by the Zionists. They've been in control for quite a while, and they've done a lot of damage to our country and our reputation. And we need to change that. So I call on everybody watching to put down your weapons. I call for a ceasefire everywhere on the planet, including right here at home. That also means to stop doing bad things. It doesn't mean just stopping guns. It means, just stop the violence, stop the killing. Hollywood, you can do a lot better. And people who write books can do a lot better. Musicians and lyricists can write better stuff. We don't need all this hate spreaded around. We don't need it. We don't need more of us against them. We need more peace, love, and happiness. We need more respect. This is what we need. Understanding. So, yeah, so that's a little bit about me, a little bit of town hall, a little bit campaign update. Yeah. So, there was something else I wanted to mention, but I've lost my train of thought. I was driving when I came up with it, and I couldn't stop and pull over and write something down, so I lost the thought that I had. Sorry about that, but I'm sure it'll come back if it's important enough. It is cold right now. It's supposed to get wintry, snowy a little later. I am going to be able to probably make it to the mall, in the National Mall in Washington, D.C. for tomorrow's event at 1 p.m. So, yeah, that should work. And we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to what the Electoral College did. And then I'm looking forward to seeing what the next steps are. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Donald Trump and his sentencing. And we need to change USA. The way we're working today is not working. And whether I get the job of president or not, I will continue to try to bring change. So it is not the end, whatever happens. It's just the next page in the chapter of bringing good change to our country. Yeah. All right. So I guess I don't know if I have anything else to say at the moment. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we'll talk tomorrow at the event, and whether you're there or on Facebook. So check back here. I'll put a link to the other Facebook page where I will be live, and then we can participate together, or just wait and I'll put it here, and then you can put your comments in, whatever you want, whatever works best. All right. So thank you very much for stopping by. My name is Susan Maude Buchser-Lochocki, and my presidential name is Susan Buchser. My art name is Maude Art. You can go ahead and look me up anyways here or someplace else. I'll be putting information in the links or in the comments below anyways. And then what else? That's about it. So if you want to look up more about my lawsuit or about me, you can look here on Facebook or on YouTube if I'm on YouTube, and you can like it and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like. Then I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter, and I'm on LinkedIn and many other platforms. Plus I have my website, susan4usa.com. That's Susan, the number 4, USA.com. Okay, that's about it. Thank you. I wish you all a nice evening wherever you are. Bye for now.